How long?
20 minutes.
I remember you saying maybe the first year your knee, like it was 20 minutes was maybe the longest you had done in a while.
Yeah, I got a bad knee. It hurts, but it's better to
20's
have
good. Yeah.
better your knee hurts, your mind feels better versus your mind hurting and your knee
Swap it,
feels
yeah.
good.
Jim starts off with
Yeah.
a question.
Caleb, yesterday or Tuesday, you had said the biggest difference with this team is just the continuity on the field. And I wondered, can you feel that in the locker room and just with the club, kind of a sense of calm and knowing who's going to be on the field every day? I got to imagine that kind of plays into the psychology a little bit.
Yeah, exactly. When you can follow a consistent process, it makes it a lot easier to correct things, to improve, and like you said, it gives you peace of mind going into the next game. It's subtle tweaks versus, we need to change everything, or we need a new lineup. We need maybe a new system because, the system's not working with this group of players. So I think we have a really deep 1-2 and we're very healthy right now. We know there will be some rotation. But it's nice when, you never want to lose a game or not get a win, but if you can lose a game and know that not a lot needs to change, just some little details, then it gives you a much better peace of mind that those details are going to be improved on, versus kind of starting over that next week. We got to change everything. And there were a lot of times last year where we had to because we were so thin and we weren't executing, and we'd lose a game and the performance wasn't good. The last game was a very good performance. Analytics again says that. The eye test says that, but there's some details we needed to improve on. Turning those chances in good positions into goals, and and the few chances we gave up, making sure that we eliminate those, and we always do, I think, a pretty good job as a coaching staff, and my assistants really deserve a lot of the credit for that in prepping for the opponent. There's always, prepping for yourself and your improvement, but also there's another team that next week that is very good. In the case of Philadelphia Union, top of the East, that you have to factor in. They're gonna do some different things, and they're 50% of the equation. So, if you don't get it right, you're either just focused on yourself and not factoring in the next team, or many times you can get it wrong by just factoring in the opponent too much. And I think we do a pretty good job. My assistant coaches are excellent at helping me find the balance between improving ourselves, focusing on what we want to do, our style of play, but also factoring in, there's a very good team that we're playing that we have to know is going to do some things whether we want them to or not.
Mm-hmm. Well, another area last game that improved was conceding total set pieces. I think they had 2 corners, maybe just 1 or 2 wide set pieces. What did you see as being the big difference as to why you guys weren't allowing them to get in those spots?
Yeah, that was a big positive. That had been a big issue, right? And we talked about it every week in here, and we weren't happy about it. And I think, again, going back to process, it's easy to be stubborn, and just say, well, it's not us, the players need to do this. But I think what we're always, doing as a staff is being reflective. How can we be better? How can we maybe put the players in a better situation or position to be effective? And we had a lot of discussions. Just should we go all zone? Do we need to go all man? We made some adjustments. I won't talk about all of them, but if you look at our setup, it's slightly different, and players are more comfortable in it, which is why I think they perform better.
Thanks for the time, Coach. Josh was removed from the injury report for this upcoming match. I know earlier in the season you talked about formations and having fluidity. With now 4 healthy center backs, does that allow you to maybe play with the formation a little bit that you were hoping to do in the preseason, but injury stopped you?
Yeah, I think it's more about having that second formation to be able to utilize when we want to utilize it. For instance, last year in the Campeones Cup, you wouldn't have known it, but we had always prepared for a certain game, and that was one we had targeted because we knew how they played, how aggressive they were. and we had been kind of quietly working on, that system, the 3-4-3, which, is very good in a low block as a 5-4-1 low block counter system. So we've been working on that, and we rolled it out in a championship game, and it helped us win that game. So that allows us now the flexibility to throw a wrinkle in if and when the time is right. But you can't just do it just to do it. And again, I go back to, I'll use the New York FC Seattle game. When you look at the Champions League game, you look at both teams played a 4-2-3-1. For me, those are the two best teams in the league, at least last several years. And that's why I believe in a 4-2-3-1. I'm not saying it's the right or wrong, but ultimately, I think when you're looking at a lot of the top teams that do want a bit of the ball, okay, which we do, 4-3-3 or 4-2-3-1 is for me the best system to play. And I look at New York City, they won the league last year in that system. They didn't change their lineup. I look at Seattle this year, with the way they look. Those are the two best teams, I think, in terms of attacking teams and positional play. And that's why we believe in that formation. And I think that formation also, when you're looking at Minnesota, the best result that a team had against Philly, they played a 4-2-3-1. So Philly, there's never a mystery what they're doing. They don't change their system. They don't feel like they need to. They do exact same system, and they just execute. And so I think this is going to be a game where they're going to probably know our system. They're going to know who's going to play. We're going to know their system. We're going to know for the most part who's going to play. And their philosophy is extremely different than ours. They'll probably adjust a little bit to us, and we'll adjust a little bit to them. But it's going to come down to who executes in the game, and that's what the best teams do. So I think it's overrated at times that you have to change, but I think having a secondary system to be able to throw out when your opponent's least expecting it in a game where you're not going to have the ball, for instance, is more when I like to use a secondary system. And I prefer, honestly, that 3-4-3 not as an attacking system, more as a defensive system. So will you see that at some point when we want to be a little bit more, organized in a low block and a counterattacking? I think it's a great counterattacking system, and it takes away an opponent's ability to get a lot of numbers in the box, like a Cruz Azul.
And also, you're talking about Philly and what they bring to it and who's going to play. Earlier this week, Jim Curtin, in his own words, put that he was going to unleash Mikael Uhle, the big signing that they had this offseason. Hasn't played too much this year yet. What do you see about him up front? What do you kind of prepare for him?
Yeah, he's. I think when you watch him, you can kind of see maybe why they let Szabelko go, because ultimately I think he's got some similarities. He's a big boy, 6'2", but extremely mobile, good in the box. He's played in good teams in Denmark, and he's a handful. He's more dynamic than you'd think. Like I said, good in the box. He's kind of like a younger version of Szabelko.
Caleb, when you look at, probably we make more narratives out of things than you guys do, but after a first loss, I'll be honest.
No,
we always do.
You guys.
We can all be honest. We all do. No, but after a first loss, go on the road where you guys want to be better, to have the top team in the East and a team playing well. Do you think this group kind of revels for those chances?
Yes, that's a good narrative. Yeah, I said that exact thing to the group. We're going to find out early in the year what we're made of. We're coming off a loss. We have to go on the road and play the best team in the East. And I think it's a great opportunity for our group to show what we're made of, and to show that we can go and beat the best team in the East on the road.
Caleb, last game, really the last couple of games, it seemed like this team creates chances. They're right there. Now you go on the road playing a very difficult team that doesn't give up a lot of chances. How did the team this week take maybe those opportunities that they created and be able to harness onto that? What's been the attitude about how they can create going forward?
Yeah, again, I think the big thing was the details. you know, I think the way we're playing, we're executing really well to create chances, to create good positions, to stop the opponent from getting in chances. And, you know, I think that's a good thing because there's not a ton box to box that we need to change. But the details, we saw a lot of details that need to be better. And a lot of it was movement, arriving at the right moment, changing your runs, getting an extra runner in the box. You know, there were 3 or 4 times if we just, you know, took our defender away and then went to the spot, like on that first Luis Diaz cross into G. If G just takes the defender a couple steps and then in, it's a tap in. And so just some of those details, and even the best players, they need reminders on those details. So it's movement, making sure we have enough runners, and then just that precision on the cross. So, you know, not changing much. You know, we just hope to get those details a little bit better.
Thanks, Caleb.
All right, thank you guys.
Thanks, Caleb.
Take care.
Appreciate it.
Thanks, Caleb.